Base Vegeta? Super Saiyan Vegeta? Nah. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Oh yeah. Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to the latest SH.Figuarts Dragon Ball release. Now this is the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, who has been on everyone's wish list for a long time, and everyone has been pumped ever since their subtle tease in that box at the Tokyo showroom. It just feels like yesterday, but it was a while ago actually. But we do have him here now, the very second release for the Dragonballgt line, coming almost exactly 1 year after Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Does he live up to the hype? Is he as good as the Super Saiyan 4 Goku? Well, we shall find out. First off, here's a retail release, so he kind of easy to get at the moment. I was in Akihabara this morning. You can check out her reel on Instagram for some shots in store. There was some stock around, not super common though. So I do recommend jumping on any stock that you do find if you haven't already pre-ordered. Anyway, since he is swinging around here, he does have a Tamashii Nations quality seal there. That is one way to spot a legitimate figure. And being retail release, he has the silver Toei sticker there for Japan. Now, depending on which region you are in, the sticker at the bottom will vary. But yeah, on the back we do have a nice selection of images showcasing what the figure comes with and what he can do in terms of articulation. So let's pop him out of a box so we can get a closer look at what he does come with. So we've got Vegeta himself in the centre there with a base neutral phase, and we've got the slight smirking one which Vegeta often does come with. We also have the teeth gritting, kind of getting that anger coming through, and then the full on screaming one there which is perfect to pair with his Ki Blast attack. Now he also does have his Saiyan 4 tail, which is separate to the figure from the packaging. But that will just pop into the back just like the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. We also have his Ki Blast there, which is just building up. It's quite a unique one actually. It does attach to the hands, which we have on the bottom here. But it does have sort of like the sparking, a little bit sort of the energy coming off the ball. So it's not just a standard orb like what we got with Bardock and some of the other figures recently. Now for hands, he does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs. They're kind of a nice mix actually. We've got the usual ones down the bottom here which will attach to the Ki Blast. The fingers kind of somewhat spread, full and spread out, a flat palm one, and then the somewhat of a martial arts kind of Ki Blast attack type hand there. So that is really nice. So yeah, overall for a retail release, he does come with quite a few items, which is really nice to see. Not as stacked as some figures lately, but definitely a nice range of hands and expressions, which is really good. So enough of that, let's pop him out and we can get an actual look at the overall finish for the body. So as Vegeta here spins around on the turntable, one thing you'll probably notice straight away is his hair colour. It's not a dark black colour like just about every other release, but in this one it is more like a dark chocolatey colour, which is actually quite a nice change from the other figures. It does give him a little bit more contrast, and when there's the shadows on it, it does come through as black, and it's kind of like he's kind of powering up, flowing with that Ki energy, like he's seen in the show, which is really nice. Also, you'll probably be thinking straight away that this is actually a bit more of a premium finish for a retail figure, which is great. We've got the nice shading and weathering in his legs there, so it's not just one solid colour. His, I guess, skin tight jeans are looking really nice. And then the same with the colour separation of his boots is really cool. The overall colouring, I believe is really nice. It does kind of fit the essence that is Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta from Dragonballgt. It's kind of a unique look for Vegeta, and I think it works really nice in figure form. Same with the chest area here. So we've got the red fur colour, which we'll see when we compare with Goku a little bit later. Slightly different colouring, but he does have a nice kind of coloured chest there, and that is matching in really well with his neck and face as well. One issue with some figures in the past, when you have a painted section on them, sometimes it won't match up quite as well with the faces or other portions of the arms. But in this case, I feel like it's working really well. The purple on his belt is nice, and again that matches up well with his gloves and boots. The tail itself has the kind of bursting of the seam of his pants there, so it looks like the tail has, boom, burst straight out, which is really nice. It's just the same as the Super Saiyan 4 Goku release. The faces, again, are looking really nice, though the paint separation between the hair and the actual face isn't as clean as a lot of recent figures, and that is definitely a shame for this figure. So I don't think he'll be taking the top spot from Krillin this year, but I guess we'll have to wait until the top 10 video for 2022, once that will be released, hopefully by the end of next month, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, anyway, that is it for the overall finish. Drop a comment below what you think so far, and we can jump into the articulation now. Okay, so just like the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the individual parts of his hair do move individually, and that is the same for the back. So these are on individual pegs and they will move, and you can kind of move them out of the way or pull them down to keep his head up if required. Now the articulation of the head is pretty limited. I mean, he can go forward and back a little bit, but it is limited by the volume of hair. If we pop that faceplate off, we can see it does have a single long peg in there, so it isn't one that will only pivot in one single direction. So even if you do change the direction that the head is facing, you won't get too much more articulation going on. Again, if it's a little bit tight, you might be able to loosen up a little bit and get a bit better range of motion, but overall the hair will be the main limit for how far you can push the head. The neck is a little bit hard to reach, so taking off that faceplate will help, so you can kind of move the neck back and forward a little bit more. But when you do have that faceplate on, access does get a lot harder. So moving over to the shoulders, these are just like the Super Saiyan 4 Goku with a lot bigger range of motion, so you can swivel the arm up and around and all the way in, which is really nice. It definitely makes it easier to pull off some of those attack moves with Vegeta here. His arms are a little bit stiff, at least on my one, so if yours is feeling a bit stiff, just play around for a little bit and it should slowly loosen up. I have noticed that this figure is getting a bit easier to pose now that I've been having a bit of a play around with him. The elbow joint, again, it's okay, but like most Dragon Ball figures with bulging muscles, a little bit limited. The wrist joints are all very standard with the basic movement there, so depending on which way the peg is facing, and there'll be which way you can tilt the hand. Now from the midsection here, you can tilt them forward and back. Again, the articulation is okay, going back is a little bit better. One thing that's quite surprising, the centre part here on his inner chest, this is actually a soft plastic. So it can bend a little bit, which is nice, and if you do push it too far forward, which you can see here we go, we can easily detach the torso. So there's a nice kind of big joint there for the peg to pop into, which is split, so you don't have to worry about it breaking or anything like that. So just keep in mind, if you do push it a bit too far, that is okay, because it will pop off without breaking, which is really nice. Moving down to the legs, he's got really good range of motion. He can do the splits, which is pretty rare with the Dragon Ball figures. Again, we've got the upper thigh swivel, and the knee is basically what you'd expect from the bulging muscles there. Not too bad, though he does have some chunky thighs, which does hinder the articulation a little bit. Moving down to his ankles, again he's got some nice big pegs there. The articulation is okay. I do feel like they could definitely take inspiration from the Naruto line to improve the articulation and ankles for the Dragon Ball line. The toe tip is all basic. There's nothing actually too outstanding about this thing in terms of articulation. It is really nice, but I kind of think back to something like the Krillin figure or even Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Vegeta here, I guess he is the third or fourth figure that have had some of these improvements, so it's not quite as impressive as what it used to be. I think there's some points on this Vegeta that could definitely be improved. However, compared to your normal Vegeta releases, definitely a lot better in terms of articulation, especially in the leg region. For the tail on Vegeta here, it's on a single ball joint, and this is essentially the same as any other figure with a tail. Works really nice and simple, and it is pretty straightforward to pop on and off. I know the Super Saiyan 4 Goku one was pretty difficult to put that tail in and out. So moving over to the faces here, overall I think they're pretty nice, and they're not the best faces that I have seen on the figures lately though. And that is mainly due to the colour separation from the hair and face. It is a little bit messy if you're looking close up. It may come through quite clearly on camera, though in person when you're looking at them from a normal distance, it is really hard to notice, and especially if it's on the shelf you won't notice at all. Just when you get up super close to the figure. The lines for the colouring around his eyes though is really nice. The red and the blue, everything like that is coming through clearly, and the sculpt I feel is really nice. It does capture Vegeta's essence in this form. The next face is the slight smirk one. I always love these ones with Vegeta. It always comes through with that kind of a arrogant cockiness that he has, a slight half smile smirk. It's definitely really nice, probably my favourite face for this figure. Next up is the teeth gritting one. This one's quite nice. Again, it's got the details coming through with the extra sculpting in his eyebrows to give off that kind of annoyed look. And with the teeth and the lines on either side to give it the extra detail is really nice as well. And then finally we have the full-on mouth open screaming look. Again, this one is really nice. The extra lines on his eyebrows there and the kind of squiggly lines underneath his eyes looking really clean and crisp as well. I mean, I think overall the faces are really nice. Just getting a little bit picky with the colour separation there, being it could be a little bit cleaner, but that will probably be something that might vary from figure to figure. So I won't go over every hand he comes with, but there will be a selection of photos at the end of the video, and you can check out more on Rockchala as well. But I did want to show off the hand for the key blast. As we can see, there is a moulded peg in there, and that will just attach directly to the key blast. So with the key blast here, we can see we've got some nice colouring on top there to kind of give it a bit more of a whiter look. Then we have the bits of key on the side that was just shooting out to give it a bit more of a dynamic look. Then on the back here we can kind of see a bit more of the translucent colour. Overall I think this key blast is really nice. It looks a little bit messy in some ways, but it definitely looks like an attack which is just being charged up. I'm not sure which attack this one is meant to be, if this is, was it Final Flash, if it was a Big Bang. I'm actually drawing a bit of a blank at the moment, but drop a comment below for which attack this key blast is designed to be. Okay, so I've got Goku and Vegeta here for a bit of a size comparison and more so the colouring difference. The main thing to point out is the fur in Goku here is a bit more of a softer cherry colour, a bit more of a matte finish, whereas Vegeta has that darker, deeper red colour. Really looks like, to me, a fresh slab of steak. It kind of has that kind of slightly shiny and kind of deep, kind of almost blood type red colour. I feel like the colouring that we have on the paints for Vegeta here is really nice in terms of the shading, whereas the Goku one was a little bit more basic there. We can also see the difference in the hair, whereas Goku has a bit more of a slight matte and a straight black colouring, whereas Vegeta does have that chocolatey colour. Let me know in the comments below what one you prefer in terms of the fur and the hair colouring. I feel like it's actually quite nice having a subtle difference between the two figures. Depending on the lighting, one may look slightly better than the other, but overall I think both are looking fantastic. Okay, don't adjust your set. You're not seeing triple. We do have three versions of Vegeta right here. We've got the Super Saiyan Vegeta, the brand new Dragon Ball Super Vegeta that came out back in, I believe it was May this year, and then obviously Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta himself. Now this is for just a little bit of a size comparison. As we can see, the Super Saiyan and base Vegeta here are pretty much the same size, though the Super Saiyan 4 one, who actually when he transforms gets slightly bigger than his base self, is surprisingly basically the smaller version of all these figures. I feel like they've nailed the size for Vegeta here, especially when standing next to the other figures. So hopefully once we do get more of the, I guess, 2.5 or 3.0 design elements trickling down to the other figures, hopefully we'll get a new Vegeta like that. Though we did just get a brand new Vegeta go up for pre-order, and there's also the hint at the base version one as well, who will hopefully be coming later on. So maybe in another couple of years we'll have a Vegeta with similar design elements as the Super Saiyan 4 here. Okay, so that brings us to the final thoughts for this release. Definitely drop your own comments below, and if you did enjoy this video, do like and subscribe as well for future videos. It definitely helps. But on to the pros at least. I feel like they've nailed the actual design aesthetic for Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. I'm really digging the colouring for the pants, boots, all the kind of like little bit design, the separation of the purple and the yellow with a slight wrinkle there, like where the boots are being kind of what was it, like not really the painting of the leather, but how it all kind of molds and kind of wears in over time. I think it is really nice. The colouring of the belt with the gold trim there is nice. And then again, I quite like the darker red colour for the fur, and then the painting for the chest and the colour matching is nice. And I like the chocolate colour as well. Not really sure if that is a pro, the colour for the hair or the fur. It's probably a bit more of a personal preference, so that may vary depending on which one you prefer, either this colouring or what we have on Goku. The articulation on the leg region is definitely a pro. That is really nice. And I like how the centre torso there is soft, and that top part will pop off easily if you push it too far. The sculpting and the design of the faces I think are really nice, though a slight con for me is going to be that colour separation from the hair and the face. Now, I do want to point out I am being quite pedantic here. It's not horrible or really bad or any like defect or anything like that, but compared to a lot of figures recently, it's not as crisp or clean as what it can be. So I am definitely pointing out for those reasons. Some of the markings where they've kind of cut off a mould is a little bit clear on this figure as well. If they could have cleaned it up a bit more, I think that could have been quite nice. The other somewhat of a con, the neck articulation is a little bit limited. Obviously the hair will hinder it a bit, and I would have liked to see a bit more articulation in those ankles, and a little bit more in the admin area as well. I feel like when compared to some of the amazing releases we had this year, mainly those Naruto figures, they have definitely spoiled me for what Tamashii can do. Sometimes these Dragon Ball ones can be a little bit lackluster. Though, hopefully, if enough people kind of point that out, maybe going forward we'll get some updates there. I'm definitely digging the new thigh design for Vegeta here. As we know, these figures, articulation is horrible for that waist, so the fact that Vegeta has nice articulation there is a huge pro for this release. But overall, solid figure. I'm not sure if it's my favourite release for this year. For the most part, he does live up to the hype and anticipation for this figure. Though, let me know what you think below. Did he nail it? Is it exactly what you're hoping for from a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta release? But yeah, that covers all of the review. There's some images at the end of this video and on rockchala.com, which is linked in the description below. So again, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, cheers!